This is a brief introduction to Photoshop. Once you have Photoshop open, we have our main menu up here. So there are a lot of things that can be done from these drop-down menus when you have an image open. We'll go over more of that later. Over here we have our main toolbar. Now I have recommended staying in the Move tool as sort of your default function, and you see that's a quick stroke of the letter V on your keyboard. We do this so that you don't accidentally brush or crop or make an adjustment to the image that you have open. It's a good resting position. But here on your toolbar you have the rest of your main tools, your brush tool, your selection tools, which we'll learn more about later, your type tool, which we've gone over, and so on. Then up here, beneath the main menu options here, we have options for each tool. So when you're in the type tool, you see that this toggles to your font, the type, your font size, how you want your paragraph layout. You can also open up this little option here, and it opens up more details about your type tool. So whenever you're in a different tool, this kind of sub-menu always toggles so that you can select different options for your tool. So when you crop, you can crop at a certain ratio or a certain width and height dimension depending on how you set your tools. So those are your tool options. Then over here we have our palettes, our window palettes, and I have recommended always having open your layers palette and your history palette. That can be done by opening up your windows here and selecting which ones you want open. The ones that have the check marks next to them are the ones that are open, and you can unopen them by checking as well. Alright, so I'm just going to bring my history and my layers back. So once you are ready to open an image, you can do so with the file open. You can also, I'm going to do that now, so you can navigate to the image you want to open. Here I have some images that are raw images, and this .xmp file is basically a data file that comes from Bridge. So you can open your image by navigating to it that way, and you see a camera raw box comes up. Now, if you've shot in RAW, this is always going to happen. If you shot a JPEG or you're trying to open another image file type, then it will just open. But if you are shooting in RAW and using RAW images, you have this RAW converter. A RAW file is an unprocessed file. So this basically does the first level or layer of processing. So we have a bunch of basic functions here on slider panels that you can adjust. We have the exposure that we can bring up or down. We have contrast. We have highlight. So right now I have my highlight warning on. That's what those red marks are. So that shows you what portions of your image are completely blown out without any data. And then we have the shadow warning over here. If you click this on, the shadows will be shown in blue. We don't have any loss of detail in the shadows on this image. So you can recover highlights with this slider here. You notice that if I pull it back, you see the red kind of disappear. You can obviously do it the other way as well. And likewise the shadows. You can bring the shadows down or up. If you had lost detail on some of your shadows, you could lift them a little bit here. Then we have the whites and blacks. And clarity, vibrance, and saturation. Now all of these can be brought back to 0 by double clicking on the middle there, or you can leave your adjustments as you've done them. This is again your first round of processing with RAW. So these are your basic functions. There's a whole lot more you can do in here, but we're just going to go over the basic stuff now. So then your image is opened, and see I'm on the crop tool here, so we don't want to do that. And we've got our image open. So again, if you're using JPEG as your shooting mode, your image will just automatically open. If you are shooting in RAW, you will have to go through that RAW conversion first. Now, you can also open straight from Bridge by simply dragging and dropping into Photoshop, or you can, and again the RAW converter comes up as well, or you can drag directly from the source, your file straight into Photoshop as well, and that's the 3 different ways to open up images. So once you're done with the edits of your image, you can go to File and Save. Now, as you can see here, I have my images separated by type, shoot type. I've recommended that you keep a Photo 101 folder and separate them by assignment type. So once you've, let's say this portraits is like the portrait assignment, and I've taken multiple attempts at this. I've done multiple shoots, so this might be the one that I shot on Saturday, the one that I shot on Sunday, and so forth. So within each one of these, I keep all of the originals untouched. That way I can always go back and get them and reprocess them if I would like to make an adjustment, or if I've resized it too small, I can always go back to the original with all the data. And then within there, I have my selections, the ones that I've deemed worthy for editing. So once I've edited the image, I'm going to save it in a new folder called Edits or Done or whatever you like. That way you have your finished JPEGs saved in a separate space than your RAW files. Okay? And now I know that I can go and open this again. Actually, it's still open, so I don't need to open it again. And create my US paper size 8.5 by 11 document. And take this over to copy and paste it. It's going to be really big. Did that copy, paste. For the final assignment that I'm going to turn in. So I'm just going to resize that, and here we are with our image pasted onto our 8.5 by 11 document, and we're ready to print.